Welcome to Ask Don't Tell. Today I have an awesome guest on the show, Michele Phillips. You talk about writing your own outcome. And when we talk about that, there's so many things to unpackage between business and corporations, and sales and life. So I'm so excited to have you on the show today. Welcome, Michele.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right, let's just get started here. Michele, why do people come for you for help? Like, how do you help people? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, our brain is wired to keep us safe. It's not wired to keep us happy. So we're always looking for what's wrong in our relationships, at our job, with our boss, with our clients. And I am an expert at helping people see the positive in everything. So I don't care if you're looking for love, you're looking for a job, you just got divorced, you want a promotion. I will help you see the positive side of your current situation, and that helps us then write a new outcome. Where are you going versus focusing on what you don't want, which is what most people do.
Wow. I'm so intrigued now. How did you get into this? I mean, because I've actually been on your podcast, which is a great show, by the way, and you're always smiling. We had so much fun. I think in your website, they call you the light lady. There's just this joy and this presence in you. Is that something that you've always had? Is that something that you've learned to develop over time, which is now something that you teach as gift?
Yeah.
How did you even get into this? That's
I
what
think it's a little of everything. So I like to think that in my early years, I was a pretty positive person, but I was unconsciously. And when things did not go my way, man, my temper was fierce. I yelled, I screamed, I threw things. I've gotten run over the other side of the road, road rage. I was out of control. So partly by design was to become consciously and then be able to direct and manage my own nervous system when it got emotionally hijacked, and now teach others how to do the same.
well, I kind of resonate with this because I'm always kind of in a good mood unless you get me in a bad mood. We're all in a bad mood sometimes, but usually I'm in a good mood. Usually I'm an ultra positive person. My wife calls me an optimist. She said sometimes it's annoying, right? So how do this is something that, again, it's a little bit of something you've learned. It's a little bit of emotional intelligence. You've learned how to get better and seeing the positive side of things. But for example, you actually teach, you coach, you train corporations, you train employees. How is what your methodology or what you do different than, for example, just reading a self-help book or themselves into today I'm going to be positive. Why your solution, why your workshops, why your speaking, why your books? What is it that you do that makes it so special that it actually works?
Yeah. And I don't even know if it's special and I never like to put down anybody else's methodology. And I always say to people, the methodology that works for you is the one you need, right? If my methodology does not work for you, then find somebody else, because the whole idea is that you find relief and you feel good in your decisions. What's different about what I do is the write the outcome method is not only sometimes people will get it, they'll get hired in a company, they make a bad decision in where they work. And then they spend the next 30 years complaining that they don't like it there. And I'm always like, there's no chains on your feet. So you get to write a new outcome. So the difference, what I do is ask people to tune into how they feel. So it's a lot of positive psychology, which the research has showed that optimism can be learned, which I love that we have research behind this. It's emotional intelligence, and it's the outcome I want is I want a boss that I like. I want to be respected at work. But it's like, okay, how does that make you feel? So I really have people tune into where they're feeling. And if you want this, but if you want this good feeling thing, but you don't feel good about it, there's this giant disconnect. So I help you walk up what I call the emotional ladder of emotions, one rung at a time. So I could stop now or keep going into
No,
the
keep going.
explanation.
I'm soaking this in. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
So what
Because you're
happens
giving.
is,
Okay, so if you're listening to, there's going to be here. Stay with us.
yeah, what happens is when people are feeling low, if you imagine emotions on a ladder, imagine this ladder being at the top of a high building or whatever. And the bottom level of emotion and energy is depression. I have no energy. I can't get out of bed. I can't get dressed. No emotion. When people don't feel good, they want to leap to feeling good. They want things to be great. So any addictive behavior, name any one, right? Drinking, shopping, eating, sex, they go to these instant fixes. And what I want to teach people is, instead of going for the instant fix, learn to self-soothe. Soothing is solving, and walk yourself up the emotional ladder one rung at a time. So if I'm feeling depressed, can't get dressed, and then I'm angry at myself for being depressed, well, anger has more energy than depression. So at least now I'm out of bed, not where I want to stay. But what's the next emotion above anger? Maybe it's disappointed in myself. Again, you start to climb up the ladder, and you start to prove to yourself that you have power by the story you're telling and where you're focusing.
So for example, when you or when I go into a workshop or a corporation or a speaking, I mean, you're looking at all sides of life. I mean, you're looking at people, and I don't start staring, but you're looking at all sides of life.
Yeah.
Happy, positive people, sad, depressed people that hate their job, people that love the job, the go-getter, the one that they want to get fired. Like, you're just looking at everything, right? When you do that, is it patterns of behavior that you're kind of coaching? Something as simple as sometimes I'll force a smile, and my daughter will be like, "What are you doing, Daddy?" I said, "Well, I'm actually not in a bad mood, but I'm tricking my brain to believe that I'm in a good mood. So I'll force a smile." Yesterday, she didn't want to go to camp, and I said, "Mila, just force a smile." And all of a sudden, her change, right? It's her brain. So is it a behavior? Is it like each, or is it more of, this is where you are, and if you follow kind of these patterns, behaviors, and strategies, you can climb. I'm interested to know how you can take such a diverse group that says, "Oh, come on, I don't want to be happy all the time. Come on." How do you take them through that journey where they actually say, "Wow, this is helping"?
First of all, I only look for the believers. There's always going to be people in every audience that don't care, don't want it. And I'm like, you know what? You're not my audience. I'm looking for the people who want to feel better. Secondly, I always say, I am going to give you so many tools, tips, and methods, and you have to choose the one that works for you. It's kind of like, not everybody likes chocolate ice cream. Some people like vanilla ice cream. It's not right or wrong. But again, the biggest thing, Oscar, I want to teach people is how to pay attention to what resonates with them and make good decisions for them. So many people are looking for tell me what to do. Tell me at 11 o'clock I should eat 4 almonds and face south on 1 foot and I'll lose. It's like, stop. I want people to learn how to do this without me by how they feel. If I make this decision, and thinking, the way you think is a habit. So if our brain is constantly looking to the negative, and optimism can be learned, there's always an opposite to the negative. So if it's always, this is the worst thing that could happen, well, what's the best thing that can happen? And if you don't believe that, what's the closest thing to the worst thing? So it's helping people look at life with new eyes. And I can give so many metaphors, so many examples, but I can't teach you until, I always say, try it on for 30 days and you be the judge. Because until you feel it, you're like, I did that. I was starting to focus on that negative spiral, and I was able to shift it. And then you realize the power is within. It starts on the inside.
So again, you can't help people that don't want help in any sort of situation, whether it's, sport or life or coaching or sales training, period, right? You have to have the desire, maybe not even the ability, and maybe not even the skills. You can learn the ability, you can learn the skills that Michele has, but you have to have the desire to get better, right? So let's say you're in I'll give you a perfect example. I think I've mentioned this, but a lot of times when I do these corporate workshops, say, I'm the sales trainer, right? No one wants sales training, especially if they're engineers or they're developers or they're, younger. They're like, oh God. But I always say, when I say, who here wants sales training, nobody raises their hand. Right. Everybody's like wanting to walk out there. I say, okay, who wants life training? Who wants to get the yes? Who would want to get more yeses in life? Everybody raises their hand. And then somewhere along the morning, usually around hour 3, I'll have someone that was kind of skeptical and they're like, man, I get this. I see how I can use this in my life. At that point, I know I've won the audience. When is it with you, whether it's an individual person or a group or a company or a team? You said you mentioned coach teams. When do you know that you've kind of won? Like they kind of got it.
It's exactly the same thing. Oh, my earpiece is falling back. It's the same thing that you said. I call it the turnaround. Okay. There's always that guy who walks in or gal who says, They walk in, they don't even know me. They'll go, "What time's this over?" I want to be there. And then when they get to know me or you, and they go, "Oh, I read a book." They try to make up for their nasty comment when they got there.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, I know we've turned it around. There is a saying I learned from Jack Canfield. He trained me in 1997. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always just looked for the believers. In every room, there are people that want this, and there are people that don't care, and that's okay to me. I'm not there to get all of them. I'm there. And I always say, I know this stuff works. I'm getting paid, whether you like it or not. So you could try this. I mean, literally, I'm really honest with people. You could try this on and then be a judge for yourself, or you could throw it out the window. But again, to be open enough to try it on. And I'm just very personable. And so again, I've been doing this so long. Most come around. Some don't. Some will, some won't. It's okay.
Yeah, no, and that's fine because I lived through the same thing, and I think it's fun. So I'll ask people, hey, raise your hand if you're willing to play all in and see if this makes an impact in your life, in your personal life, and in the company. And usually people play all in, but there's always, there's always that one that you go into the bathroom literally at the end of a 2 days, and you've been working your butt off and talking and training and coaching, and you see all the materials in the garbage.
I had a guy once.
And there's always that one. But anyway,
the flip side of that. I had a guy once come into class and start reading the newspaper in the front row. I'm like, could you please leave? Right? If you're going to read the newspaper in the front row, I don't want you here. But on the flip side of that, Oscar, is there's always the one that has a flat pan face the whole class, and at the end goes, "Oh my gosh, this was so good." And I'm like, could you let your face know? I didn't get that from you.
I think before I go move on, I just think the moral really of what we're talking about here is, it doesn't matter if you've got the best sales trainer in the world, which I believe I am, or the best, business life, write your own outcome coach or trainer in the world. If you don't take some sort of action or mindset that, hey, I can get better. I may know everything, but I can get better. Like the best you is you tomorrow. And if you don't really resonate with that idea, you may be one of the people that we prefer not come back on day 2 of the workshop, honestly.
Yes.
Right. So you've mentioned you have all this experience that you have joy from passing it on to others. I'm going to go taking a little bit of another layer to you or and how you can help them. Your solution of how you train people works because you've done it for so long, right? But in the world of training and coaching and speaking, there's many me's and there's many you's, right? Yeah. So why Michele? I always like, asking that question. Why Michele Phillips? Why not? And again, they're all good. They may all have value, but why you?
Because I do get results. I have a track record of results. Most of the people I've coached have gotten promoted, have really big positions right now. I have a woman that I've coached from the beginning. I feel like we grew up together, and now she's like, a bigwig, and now I'm coaching her husband in his company. So again, the other thing, because there are so many good people out there, and I always say I'm not here to compete. I'm here to look for the believers that resonate with what I do. And in every company, the whole company, I'm only one person, so the whole company might not want this training, but there's a leader that goes, I get what she's doing. Mm-hmm. I want that for my team. And then I would create a partnership where we meet once a month and we really become partners in the employees, in their team's development. So it's not just a one-off training. It's a training with coaching. It's a training and then maybe another training. And then maybe this person has to start presenting in front of bigger groups and they need that kind of training. So it becomes a partnership and it becomes so fulfilling to watch these people get better in what they're doing every day. And I always say too, I don't even give them anything they don't have. I'm just helping them be confident with what they already have and giving them tweaks and tips. And, what are your strengths? Knowing your strengths is so important. And then knowing your weaknesses, not to beat up, but to fill in those gaps when you need someone to help you. And then to really have people, I always say, when you stand on 2 feet in your power, you are so influential. But if I stood on one leg, I'm not as sturdy. So when people really know who they are, and I affirm that for them, which is something a coach does, they're able to they're able to be decisive, they're able to be influential, and they make more of an impact versus following a how-to book.
Okay. So that's an awesome response. I'm going to challenge you a little bit here.
Keep going.
let's give our audience, and again, there's no I want this today, quick fixes today. These things take time, right? I mean, even the skills that I
Sink keeps
teach
falling
people.
out. Sorry, I'm going to fix it again.
That's it. Even the skills that I teach people, yes, there's things that you can take home today and apply today, but to really get good, asking the right questions and getting to yes takes practice. So here's my little challenge to you. Something that our audience can actually, take home. I'm not asking for a quick fix, but something. So here's me. I'm the most positive guy in the world, literally. There's not a greater optimist. Like, things are always going to turn out for my good. That's how optimist I am, right? And that could be a flaw, but we're not going to go that direction. Point being is, even though I'm an incredible optimist, I'm also human, and so is everyone else. So I wake up every morning with the worst thoughts you could possibly think of, like most humans, right? There's always something that you have to worry about. Your brain just cannot go to not worry. So whether it be a family, whether it be a business thing, whether it be a personal thing, whether it be something me that's just like literally some fear that will never happen. I'm borrowing from the future fears that don't even exist, right? And a lot of our listeners, when they work in corporate America, or they're entrepreneurs, or they got families, they wake up like this. Right? So for me, quiet time and settling my brain, settling my mind. I read my Bible every morning, but that's me, right? That's what I do to kind of, and then when I do that, I just have habits that get me into the right perspective to seize the day. But that's me. What could you give to our audience that you teach or train that can help them every single day to change, to go from negative? I mean, if you're negative and you wake up negative, you're like, it's hard to change. But I'm positive. I just wake up with a negative thought sometimes, but I can change that. How can you help our audience? Just a tidbit, some skill, some strategy that you could talk about today.
Okay, I love this. First of all, it's not that I don't give tips and methods. Like, there's so many tips and methods. I don't have a set procedure. So basically, when someone comes to me, I'm like, oh, this is a good one for you. And this is a good one for you. I just have so much in my wheelhouse that I pull and choose what's needed. So it's not one size fits all. I did write a book called Happiness is a Habit. So look that up, and you hit on it. You figured out your strategy. Now, every single thought is a magnetic unit of energy that gathers another thought just like it, and gathers another thought. So instead of, you wake up in the morning, I always say when you wake up in the morning, your brain picks up right where it left off in the evening. So before you go to bed, some kind of gratitude ritual, some kind of appreciation ritual, maybe writing down, your worries in a book that, say, okay, I'm going to put these to sleep for now so I can get a good night's sleep. The minute you wake up in the morning, really, I sing I'm so corny. There's an old Kellogg's commercial when I was a kid. It was like, it's going to be a great day. And I forced myself to sing that line. But then it's starting every thought is a electromagnetic unit of energy. You can stop a negative thought early. Once one thought collects another and another and another, you lose track and you start to spiral into the negative fog. But if you catch it early, you're able to redirect. So every single morning, I meditate, read, journal, sometimes exercise. So for everyone listening, I always say you have to find the recipe that works for you, that in the morning you do something that inspires, motivates, or educates you. I don't care what it is, but I promise you it will start your day in a better trajectory.
All right, Michele. So I love the thought that, and to kind of paraphrase a little bit, it's, you're talking a little bit about, creating, I almost call it, like, if you're thinking of a company, like systems and controls within your own brain. So for example, those people that would resonate for a company, brain is a system of some sort. What new system or what new technique can I add to it? So honestly, like, go, which is what I'm hearing for, like, you don't have to take everything. I do this all the time. It's like, I don't want to think about that, and it's just gone. I don't want to think about that, it's just gone. I don't want to think.
Well, there's a saying, you're on a little delay, but I always say when your thoughts run away, you don't have to go with them. So it's paying attention to the thought and how it makes you feel. And is it fake fear? unless the building's on fire, somebody's bleeding, or something's happening in my immediate, it's a fake fear. So it's a fake fear. It's a thought I'm having. And I always say, I'm the only one in here and I'm the boss of me. So I could choose something that feels a little less scary. So it's really about taking control and learning how to steer. I don't even like the word steer, guide your thoughts. Those dark, scary thoughts are going to come. We all have them, but you don't have to run away with them and collect another one until you're just miserable sitting in a beautiful house on a sunny day. You can start to shift it in a different direction.
Awesome. So is just learning those. I mean, there's skills that you have to practice in home over time, but what you're teaching people is it doesn't have to be this way. Basically what you're saying. You're basically saying, look, we all struggle with a lot of the same things, but if we work with certain skills and ability, coaching and training, you know, your brain, your body is a system. If we're talking about, you know, companies and corporations, that you can train a sales team to get better. You can train a leadership to get better. You can train an entire company to have better culture. And it starts with the individual learning how to do those things for themselves, which is kind of what I'm hearing from you.
Definitely. It's all about how I respond and react, because I always say any person can be successful and do well in almost any type of environment if they've mastered. That's what they call it, a mastermind. A mastermind is someone who's mastered their mind and knows that the fake fears and the negative thoughts are parts of our, you know, our brain, again, is wired to keep us safe, but we need to override that and say, fear I'm having is not happening right now. I'm projecting. And if it's fake, what's the truth? Right now, I'm snuggled in my warm bed next to my beautiful, you know, significant other or my dog or whatever it is. And it's okay. And literally soothing is solving. When we soothe a baby, if a baby was crying, each of us has to learn how to soothe ourselves, or those dark thoughts and the anxious thoughts and the fear, they will take control of your whole life. And a high percentage of the population runs around not knowing those thoughts are not.
Okay. Is it so here's a tricky one. So is it all about just about us? Because at the end of the day, so for example, if I'm on a sales team, a leadership team, a management team, on an operations team, and I learn this stuff, I can change or work or adapt or manipulate, whatever you want to call it, right? So that I can perform better in the world around me. But what about the others? Is it just about me or is it about the others? So does your teaching teach me how to get by in life when others don't have those skills, those abilities, those training, the ones that are going to make me mad, not buy for me, say no to me, you know, not let me. Are you teaching that, or is it more like if we apply these skills, others will see what we're about inside, and just better things happen in our lives? I love to get your feedback on that.
It's a little of both. I'm going to go back to that standing on your 2 feet. When someone is in their full power, standing on their 2 feet, they are more influential. So when I teach someone not to let all these little silly things that aren't even happening, when I teach them to not pay attention to them and to be in their power, they are more influential. If someone's standing on 1 foot, you're not going to follow them. So again, it's both. And I always say happy, confident people make you feel happy and confident. Insecure people make you feel insecure, or want you to feel insecure. So the more confident you could be, I always say, I'm the best Michele Phillips I could be today, but that doesn't mean I'm better than you. Hopefully I'll be better tomorrow. So the more I can work on me, the more I'm able to deal with other people, no matter where they are. And not everybody, some are more advanced than me, and some are not as advanced in the situation. I am able to manage my emotions and the situation and not take it personally.
All right. So why today? What can someone do? And I'm not saying give them a skill today. If what they're hearing is saying, okay, I want to know more about what Michele is. I want to know about her book, or I just want to change. I want to do something with my life. Forget about Michele. I just want to do something. Why today? Like, what do they need to do today? What action do you want them to take today? It doesn't have to be a Michele thing. It can just be look, first step may be just a mind shift. What today? Why today?
So the first thing I tell people is start with something so easy you can't fail. You could say, I'm going to eat an apple for the next 90 days. Every day I'm going to eat an apple. That's so simple, it sounds ridiculous. But I want you to start getting the early wins. So in my book, Happiness is a Habit, I tell people, habits are the things you do without thinking. They require absolutely no energy. So I want you to think about if everyone listening picks one simple thing, something so simple you can't fail, like eating an apple. For the next 90 days, I'm going to even give you 90 days. You eat an apple for 90 days. You go, oh, I did that. That was easy. Pat myself on the back. Pick something new. 90 days. Pick something new. In 5 years, you have accumulated 20 positive habits that are running your life on autopilot. So ask people to pick things mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. What's a thinking habit you could pick, right? Thinking positively, an emotional habit, supporting yourself or others, a physical habit, taking a walk around the block, eating an apple, and a spiritual habit. Like you said, read my Bible every day. So it's again, making it so easy and then gaining momentum, and I promise you will get results versus trying to do everything overnight and changing everything.
Awesome. That's a great tips. I always like to kind of leave my audience with something that they can take home, not only from you, but how do they apply this in, ask, don't tell, sales, the business world. So I'm going to do that just for a minute, but I want you to start thinking, I'm going to come back to you is like, what do you want the audience to do after this, or something that you'd like to leave our audience with, would say, wow, that was a great episode, or a way to connect with you, anything like that. So I'm going to give you one more chance to just, lead them to you and how they can connect with you, or something else you want them to know. So as you're speaking, one of the things that I'm thinking about, how does this apply to whether it's sales, getting to yes, entrepreneurship, your business, how does it apply? And the reality is, in ask, don't tell. I'm always saying that in life, it's not about, in the world, so we keep telling ourselves all these lies and all these things in our head that sometimes don't give us joy, don't give us happiness. So we live in a tell world. So when you're speaking, I think, well, how does this apply to the ask, don't tell? And so in ask, don't tell, we're always saying, well, you're always living in this area where you're always asking people the right questions, getting to heart, wanting to understand more about them, understanding what makes people tick. And in the sales world, if you could understand what's inside or what they're thinking, it's a lot easier to close a deal. And the same thing in business, if you understand and take the time to ask questions. But here's the thing that I thought about from what you're saying. Unless you're whole inside, unless you kind of have joy inside, unless you have peace inside, unless you really have honed some of these skills that you're talking about to be positive, how can you take an interest in other people's lives? Like, you almost can't apply ask, don't tell if you're not happy with yourself and you're not confident with yourself and standing there. So the better you get at what you're saying, Michele, honestly, the better you get at connecting with people and living in the ask, don't tell world, where you're really taking an interest in people. Not about you, not about telling yourself something, not about telling others, not about a pitch, but really, what does this person need and how can I help them? Because once you're whole inside, you want to help others. So there's such great chemistry there in between what you're teaching and ultimately what I'm ultimately teaching. So that's off my soapbox. You're up. Tell us what you want our listeners to know.
So much. Let me tell you where you can find me before I forget. Results.com will lead you to all my social media platforms, all my other websites. I got a lot out there. Results.com. But again, it does start internally. A lot of people are trying to, I don't want to say get over, sell someone something or tell someone what they need when they haven't listened yet or worked on themselves, right? I want to be a manager or a leader, but I haven't learned how to manage myself. I had a guy because I used to teach sales training at Verizon early in my career. And I had a guy come up to me in class and he said to me, I bought Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People to learn how to get over on people. And when I read the book, I realized, you don't have to do that. Right? You could fill your own cup. You could work on yourself. And the more my confidence grows and my love grows and my enthusiasm grows, my cup overflows to you. And now I want to share everything I have with the people I'm selling to. Everybody's out there selling something for people, whether you're selling an idea or where to go to dinner. It's just more fun to be in the flow of, sharing that information versus forcing people. I always say I'm sharing. It's a buffet. You want the carrots, eat the carrots. You don't like the carrots, go straight to dessert. But again, realizing it does start with our energy. How we feel inside is contagious.
Michele,
you always have more power than you think. I don't care if you're down in the dumps. If you're not, what's the word? If you haven't been diagnosed, a lot of people go around saying they have this or that. I'm like, have you been diagnosed? They're like, no. I'm like, don't ever say you have anxiety. Don't ever say you're ADHD. Don't ever say you have no attention. Unless you have been diagnosed by a doctor, don't ever say those things about yourself. And you always have more power than you think.
Well, for all those of you who are listening and have listened to the show, today I actually took Michele. She doesn't even know I took her through the 4 whys. She answered them. Why people need her help, why her solution, why Michele and why today. I don't know if those that are listening are catching that, but she answered it brilliantly. So thank you for playing along today and Ask Don't Tell. And for those of you that love this show, don't forget to connect with me at oscarsubrats.com, closingintelligence.com, or listen to the show Ask Don't Tell. Michele, you have been awesome as usual.
Thank you.
I hope people reach out to you to take that first step, because honestly, you're right. If we can make ourselves better inside, we can be out there impacting the lives of others. And honestly, what's more important than that? Have a great one, Michele. Thank you for being on the show. I'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. See you next time on Ask Don't Tell.